Hi, I'm Erin Brown with True North Book Clubs, and we are so glad that you're here today and that author David Stricklen is here with us. Let me quick tell you before Dave talks about Dave. David is a airport police chief in his former life with 30 years of experience in law enforcement, but after retiring, David went on all on his creative side. He went out there to his creativity and has written 4 middle grade books, including a series of 3 sought after middle grade fantasy adventure books. Those are called Beneath and Beyond, Through the Eyes of the Beast, and The Heart of the Swarm. And his new release is a contemporary middle grade fiction entitled Ripley, Robinson, and The Worm Charmer. I can't wait to talk about that. It is a reviewer recommended book by Kirkus Review and featured in one of their magazines, which is a really big deal in authordom. And his books and school visits are filled with magic and creativity. He's been an energetic presenter. I'm going on and on here, Dave, hang in there. And many statewide writing conferences for writing professionals. He's an active member of the Michigan Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators, SCBWI, and he has been an event planner for them for putting together these writer organizational meeting fun learning times. Dave's an alternate creative outlet artist. He does reverse perspective painting. We might talk about that a little bit. And was an international contest art prize finalist in the world's largest attended art competition. Dave, it is so good to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Erin. Thank you.
And I am excited to talk about your work, but I want to just say first, you're an author for middle grade students. Tell me what that means for those watching. What are the perfect ages for students to read your books?
Well, my protagonists are 7th and 8th graders, but you could go as young as 5th grader for very advanced readers. This book isn't written down to anyone. So I've had adults. I had a book club with 18 adults who read it and loved the book because mentally it takes you back to middle school, and it's not written down to anyone. It puts you in the moment. It takes you all the way back. And so I would say 7th and 8th grader is a target, but really available for anyone probably above 5th grade.
And I'll admit myself, I read middle grade books as well because they're just fun, right?
They're fast moving and energetic, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell me about this latest book that we're talking about. It's a quick lowdown of the story, kind of a teaser of what's inside, because we're doing a book club. There's a book club here. Tell me the title and a little bit about this book.
It's called Ripley, Robinson, and the Worm Charmer. And I'll give you a little bit of a teaser. I've gotten great reviews, so I'll just read you one real quick. And this is one by a middle school librarian. She said, "I am in awe. This book is fantastic. It's filled with mystery, adventure, troubles, victory, romance, drama. It has everything. The characters came alive as I read. I felt myself pulling for Ripley and his friends." That's what other people are saying.
Very fun.
What I would say is it's fast moving and unpredictable. A talented wrestler gives his all to win a worm charming competition. And this Ripley, my main character, he enters a new school, and it starts out by getting attacked by a bully. And he inadvertently breaks the bully's nose while trying to escape, which makes him kind of a hero in the school. But it gets the bully all riled up where he wants retaliation. And in the middle of that, he meets this kooky girl named Getty who wants to enter this worm charming competition.
Okay,
Worm charming competition becomes the most important thing in the world.
What is worm charming? Can we give it away, or do you want to keep it a secret for the readers?
Worm charming, my whole idea was to come up with the craziest competition ever and then wrap the plot so tightly around it that worm charming becomes the most important thing in the world. So I looked at watermelon seed spitting, turtle racing, frog jumping, and the craziest thing of all was worm charming. And
it's a real thing.
They do it in England. They do it in Canada. They'll grid off parks into 5-foot squares and have crazy teams and beat on the ground, and how many worms come up in a half hour becomes the most important thing in the world. So that was my challenge when I started, and you know what? It works. These worms coming up becomes like everything. His entire life figures out how many worms to draw up to the surface.
That is so crazy fun. So where does this idea, you said you did some research to get the idea for this book.
Yeah, I watch videos on worm charming, and they'll dress up like soothsayers and, snake charmers, and there's the gatherers, you know, who gather the worms. There's the counters, and then there's the people that beat on the ground. It actually works. I think the worms think maybe it's raining, but like the winner, the world record is like 435 worms they were able to pull up in a half hour.
Are you
So
kidding
that's a
me? Oh my
crazy fun
goodness.
time.
Well, how fun, because I had no idea that this was a thing, and to have this in a book for middle grade students is phenomenal.
And then to make it real.
And
So that
make
was
it real.
it challenged me, and then it worked. So it's really fun. I think this
How
might
fun.
be the best thing. I mean, the best thing I ever read. My heart is totally in this book,
Oh,
and I love my other ones. But of course, you love your new baby the best. You know, you're
tell me quickly about those other, that you have a fantasy series too. Those will be coming up here. I know Ripley is the first club you're doing here. Tell me about that series.
It's a young adult fantasy adventure about two brothers that go swimming at a pond in a local farming community. And the younger brother tries to touch bottom on a dare. This pond is feared to be bottomless, and he never comes up. And the older brother insists he's still alive. And a haunting voice comes to him in the middle of the night. And he grabs his father's tarnished yellow lantern, and he starts walking through the wavy hayfields towards the pond, and he holds the lantern up over the surface of the water, and he sees a faded image of his brother just beneath the surface.
Oh my goodness, goosebumps.
And that starts the beginning of the first book. And he obviously ends up in another place, finds his brother, and there are two other books in the series, boom, 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 and each one takes it to the next level. So if they didn't learn things from surviving the first book, they'd never survive the second one and the third one. So they grow, and it moves, and they gain things. And so generally people will buy the entire set. We'll keep the entire set. And all my books, because I love quality, are hardcover. I love hanging on to a book. With Ripley, I want to do something different. I actually have a book jacket, and then you get another book cover when you open it up. It's got the best paper, I insist, and it also has something you don't see anymore, and that's artwork at the beginning of every single chapter as kind of a lead-in. So my fantasy adventure books also have artwork at the beginning of each chapter, and I've got like 10 chapters, book 1, 15, 2, 17, 3. That's just a ton of beautiful artwork, because I think it helps your imagination and helps you mentally get into the story as a reader. I always love those things. So I kind of took all the things that I loved. I loved a good book and good paper just to hang on to it. And yes.
Right.
And so I put that all into my writing. Yes.
Grow that love of reading with that hands-on experience. I love that.
That story is yours for any time you want to pick it up.
That's right. That's right. And you've alluded to, you've said you've had some amazing reviews of your work. I know you're known among the CBWI community as just a wonderful person, presenter, author, and you've visited schools and given presentations about reading and writing in your books. And I know you do some pretty fun things with the kids. Those are in the book clubs too, right?
Yes. Well, Midwest Book Review, I've gotten good reviews from them. Recommended reviewer, I'm on the Book Watch selection. That's Ripley, and it's also Beneath and Beyond, my other series. And then really excited about Kirkus giving me a recommended review. That's kind of a big deal. They're the number one reviewer in the world, and they're persnickety. They're known to be persnickety. And then
very hard to get.
Enough. They sent me an email and said I was going to be in their October magazine. It was the full review with a picture. And then at the end of 2020, they came out and said they've got their top 5 indie books worth, what did it say? Worth discovering. That was the word. Top 35 indie books worth discovering, and Ripley is in there. So what an honor. You know, it just kind of gives you chills.
You know, I just want to say to those listening, I've known you for quite some time now, and I just think you're just a warm, wonderful, engaging person. So if you're interested in watching this and you're interested in the club that is engaging and fun, and I know you do, I mean, you do magic tricks, and I've seen you present
some of that in. Yeah, I do magic tricks they work as memory cues, really, as we're going through it, and it also makes it fun. And I thought, how can I incorporate that into the book club? So I thought what I'd do is I'll do a magic trick at the beginning of the session, and the next week I'll show you how I did it. So that's something the kids in the school don't get. I mean, I'll show you the trick, and then the next week I'll show you how I did it, and we'll kind of work through there. So there'll be kind of a fun thing going on with that. Obviously, we're going to go through chapter by chapter and learn about the books. There'll be life lessons. We'll get to talk about those. And it's not just going to be me talking. It's going to be interactive. There's going to be a back and forth where we discuss these stories. A lot of the things, especially Ripley, have to do with life lessons. And with my background, I was a policeman, I was an EMT, a fireman. I've been through a lot of different things, and I've learned a lot of different things. And
You're
all
a
these
police
different,
chief.
yes, I was the chief for 22 years.
Yeah, yeah.
So a lot of these things became puzzle pieces,
Mm.
and you write better about things that you know. I mean, you were there, so you know it was hot that day. A bug was bothering you. You know what your smells were. It's so easy to incorporate things. And when I wrote these stories, I wanted it to feel real. That was really important. So taking these life puzzle pieces, I mean, I'll be able to relate. We'll talk about a scene, and I'll say, okay, here was what really happened that morphed into this. So you kind of understand the writing process and how, as you go through life, your experiences become rubies. They become gems that you're able to use in your writing. And we all keep like little notes on things, you know, when we write. But so that'll be part of the process as we go through the story, life lessons. And also, obviously, you'll get writing tips as we go through the story. So I think it's going to be really fun. I love talking about writing and sharing thoughts and ideas with the kids.
You do. And you're so great at it. You're so connective and warm. And I'm just really encouraging those of you watching to get in that club. The live club is February 2nd. There are 6 sessions at 45 minutes apiece. Check that out at truenorthbookclub.com, truenorthbookclub.com, under the middle grade book clubs. And gosh, is there anything else you want to share with people?
I just think this will be really fun. This is fun for me. You know, I love the writing process. I love talking about it and sharing stories. And when I'm in a school and a student runs up to me, and I've had kids like run up and give me a hug, you know, and say, I loved your books. I'm walking on clouds the rest of the day. You know, I'm good for the rest of the day. I don't need to go on vacation to have a good time. And to have kids go in, and it's magic. You know, when you write, it's magic because you're creating a story from your own mind, right? And people are able to go into that world that you created, and they're able to journey through it and enjoy it with you. To me, that's real magic. So I'll do my physical magic, but we're also going to have some real magic, and I'm going to help kids make up stories of their own and give them all my little secrets I have, including secrets of the writing process. So I'm really looking forward to it.
That's awesome. And I just, again, for those of you watching, I encourage you to check out this book club, because you can see the joy and the enjoyment of writing, and how that passion is going to be passed into your student's life through this club, and learning the secrets, meeting the author and reading the book while you're talking to the author is just so fun.
And all the behind the scenes where these ideas came from. And then you're able to morph that into your own life. You know, you're on vacation and an alligator chased you down and grabbed your shoe, right? And you know if your friends are, you know which one's going to run, you know which one's going to get a stick to fend the alligator off.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Become real to you. And so we're going to go through that whole thing, and I'm honestly really looking forward to it. I think it's really going to be a good time.
Well, thank you, David Stricklen, for taking some time to talk with us here and give us a little bit of an insight into who you are and the club. And if you're watching, please check out David Stricklen's, say the name of the club again, Ripley
Robinson and the Worm Charmer.
And the Worm Charmer, the title of the book. Check it out.
And we'll learn all about worm charming too.
That's right. How fun. Thanks, Dave. Great to talk with you today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Erin. You're wonderful.